Now, it's not all heated here, and I should point out that you are, and I'm a big fan of your brother, Jim Matthews is the younger brother of Chris Matthews, who is host of CNBC's Hardball. So Jim is obviously used to hardball questions. I'm sure he and his brother did this all the time.
I've been on the show 5 times. I know.
And I'm a huge fan. He does a great job. So I did want to cover some other questions,
sure,
if I could, briefly. What do you think of the general election, primaries, with the Democratic candidates, with John McCain? Any thoughts?
I like him. I call him Admiral McCain. He loves it. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I spent a lot of time with him in New York in the 2004 convention with him and his family. Roberta, Rowena, his mom and his mom's twin sister. They're a great family. Big fans. I think he's a straight talker, no matter what they're trying to say now, and I think he'll be an excellent candidate for president.
How do you feel about Hillary and Barack?
That's a real toss-up. On a partisan basis, I prefer to see Hillary as the candidate. I don't know if she'll survive that long because I think she's easier to beat. Barack Obama, I'm concerned about anybody who has that short of a testing period. I mean, he's really a rookie. He's at best a sophomore. I like him in one sense because he's a fiery orator, and I was an English major, and I love good orators. Mm-hmm. So I'm very impressed with him as a speaker.
Yeah, he is. Okay. Back to a controversial comment. Governor Rendell commented that whites in this state, there are some whites in this state, would not vote for a black man to be president. He's the governor of the state of Pennsylvania. Do you think that was appropriate to say that?
That part that you just quoted was quite appropriate because it's quite true. I ran into this when I ran across the state.
But because it's so true,
now,
is it really something that we need to be saying?
No, because I agree with Lynn Swan that it institutionalizes. And institutionalizes the bigotry out there. And the thing that was troubling about what Ed said was, excuse me, the governor said was, it was the way he said it. He says, here you have a real respectful, well-dressed, well-spoken guy. It's like he's the only well-spoken, well-dressed black out there. You know, there was that patronizing way he couched it that upset people. Not what he said, and as Michael Smerconish and others have come to his defense, not just me, what he said was true. That there's a lot of bigotry in the state still.
Sure, but he's suggesting it. He's almost condoning it by saying it exists.
Yeah, when you're governor, you don't bring it up when you're governor, because again, it institutionalizes it to a degree. And again, I saw it firsthand.
Okay, your brother. He recently said, and then he apologized for saying, that Hillary Clinton was a candidate for president because of her husband's infidelities. What's that all about?
You had to be watching. It was Leno. You know, when you're on Leno, and I'm watching it too, and I was hysterical. And he was talking about, he was just doing like these speed bullets, like we're trying to do here. And he said, talking about McCain, he says, well, you know, he's famous. He spent 5 years in the slammer in North Vietnam, and that made him famous forever as a patriot and a guy who suffered. And he said, well, much like Hillary's, he was looking for a segue. It was pretty clumsy. He says, just like she's famous for the nonsense her husband pulled in the White House. And everybody laughed.
Okay, right.
You know, so that was the context.
Yeah. So he's able to have fun as well. Back to politics briefly. Castor proposed that you don't need a chairman, you don't need a vice chairman. Equal power, share equally. What of that proposal?
Well, it's impossible. You can't do that. You can't. Who's going to sign the bonds? I mean, when the materials come down from New York, we do a $150 million bond issue here, a $40 million bond issue there. You sign as the senior legal officer of the county. Otherwise, nobody's going to lend you any money. You have to have somebody in charge. It's not by whim. It's by statute. You have to have a senior elected official.
Okay. Joe Hoeffel has talked about the towns, the older towns in Montgomery County that are being left behind. I'm familiar with several of them. What can the county do, and is the county targeting any towns in general? If they are, I'd like to hear what towns. What towns can the county target to help bring them out of sort of a blight and poverty that they're in this county?
Well, no government's going to do that. What we have to do is try and draw in private enterprise to participate, to bring in any federal money, as we call it, Russian money. It's not our money. It's not the immediate taxpayer money. Bring in the federal money in there to the greatest degree possible for brownfields redevelopment. We could have worked for 100 years on Conshohocken to try and bring Conshohocken Borough up. If it wasn't for the Blue Route coming in, it wouldn't have happened. The planning for the developments there for 25 years have been based on the Blue Route coming in. What we're trying to do is create our own Blue Route. Right? So we're trying to bring in a Lafayette Corridor along 3 miles of riverfront to tie in the Turnpike with 202 and develop that 3 miles of riverfront. We do that, you're talking about bringing in thousands and thousands of jobs and other jobs on a domino effect as a result of that new highway development and the riverfront development. It'll be extraordinary. That's what we're trying to do.
In the news just before I came in tonight, you probably know something about it. Apparently, Albert Einstein Hospital and Montgomery Hospital are joining forces, hopefully.
Yes, they are.
And
right.
Hopefully in, I guess, East Norriton, Woods Golf Cemetery
Woody's.
Center. Is it Woody's?
Woody's.
Actually, they said on Action News tonight, Woods. I heard it twice. I wrote it down. Woody's Golf Center, building a $300 million hospital. Now,
Right.
there's tax issues, there's highway issues, there's a neighborhood issue. How do you feel about it?
They've been working very effectively with the neighbors. I'm not nuts about seeing Montgomery Hospital leave downtown in Norristown, but there's going to be a clinic there. There will be a clinic. And we've discovered, based on the studies done by Einstein and by Montgomery, only 1% of the emergency cases coming up were walk-ins. So we're going to be able to take care of that in their absence and their move out there. What we're happy about is it's going to bring more clinical procedures to the people of Montgomery County that are currently being harvested downtown. A lot of cardiac and other procedures, I don't want to get into the medical terms, but they all go downtown. And we'd like to have these opportunities out here. I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to live till I get catheterized downtown. I mean, I want to have these opportunities here in Montgomery County.
And is there some thought that the residents are going to be against this because of the added congestion?
I don't think so, because they've talked to, I think some of the directors of the project have gone out and gone house to house to house and spent an enormous amount of time with the folks. And what they're going to do is move the entire facility up close to Germantown Pike and leave a lot of open space between themselves and the neighbors. And as opposed to what could go in there, big box stores and distribution centers, I mean, it's zoned heavy industrial. You could have some really negative consequences there. I think they like the neighbor they're going to be getting in there. Nobody wants to see Woody's go, though.
Your brother, and I love this segment that he uses in his show, you know what I'm going to say.
Want to tell me something I don't know?
Tell me, I've asked all I can ask. Tell me something I don't know. This is your chance.
Okay, we're really in trouble. All the counties in the Commonwealth are going to be in deep trouble by the early part of April, if not the latter part of March. It's going to hit us like a brick, that a lot of our highway plans, a lot of our intersection plans, a lot of our basically transportation plans that we've had over in our transportation plan over the next 7 to 10 years are not going to come to fruition. Funding in Pennsylvania is really in trouble. Federal funding is going to drop 25%. PennDOT can't handle it. Act 44 is not working. The one that was going to toll the highway and subsidize SEPTA. It looks like it's all going to fall like a house of cards.
Route 80.
So we're going to be in deep trouble, right?
You don't think it's going to go through?
Doesn't look good right now.
Do you think private ownership with the turnpike? Or renting it out?
Something's going to have to be done, but right now there's
Are you for that?
I wasn't. Now that I'm looking at the consequences of no funding for highways, we have things in final design. We have things that we've had right away. We've had all sorts of things figured out for hundreds of projects in this county planned on by townships and boroughs that are not going to happen now. There's no funding. And this won't be evident for another 3 or 4 weeks. And when it happens, people are going to go like, what are we going to do? No, the federal funds down 25%, no PennDOT alternative, Title 40 or Act 44 falling apart. It's going to be a real crisis. I think the county's going to have to step in. I think we're going to have to step in on a cost-sharing basis with the townships and boroughs if we're going to get our traffic and transportation goals met.
Taxes?
I don't see taxes so much. We're in a really good, it takes a while to work your way up. We're not going to foreclose on the possibility of funds down the highway or down the road coming from PennDOT and the feds. We're not going to do that. We'll make a deal with the state. We'll make a deal with the feds. But we're going to start, we're not going to let these projects go by the wayside right now. Montgomery County enjoys a 3.2 or 3.3% unemployment rate. We've always been good for our businesses. We have a great workforce coming out of the community college. We're not going to run into a brick wall. We're going to probably fund a lot of those transportation things, and it will be a 3-0 vote, because this is a no-brainer. This is not partisan.
And future plans. It seems like every politician's ambitious. Joe Hoeffel, I've known since I was young. He's always running for a new office and is always in some new office. Bruce Castor may be running for the governorship, apparently. Any future plans for you beyond Montgomery County?
I got my hands full right now with Montgomery County, and I'm dead serious. I have no plans.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on board tonight and talking with us. Hope we've straightened some of this out. And I enjoyed meeting with you. And I would also like to say that if Bruce Castor would like to come on and give his side of all this, and Joe Hoeffel, we'd love to talk with them as well. So, again, Commissioner Matthews.
And Bruce and I are working well together. Don't kid yourself.
That's good. So things are going well.
Going very well.
Things are going better. Don't believe everything you read in the newspaper.
Look for the pictures in the paper. You'll see.
That's good. Okay. Well, thanks for being with us today. And that's all for now. So have a good day.